Today on a Friday edition of Collider Movie Talk, we've got the Independent Spirit Awards announcements to talk, and nominations to talk about, rather, and Janelle Monae has got a cool new film called Antebellum, and then Ben Affleck. Well, what is he up to next? Let's talk about it all here on Collider Movie Talk. That logo's out of here. Come on, logo, go away. We got stuff to talk about. All right, hey, everybody. My name is John Rocha. I am sitting in for Perry Nemiroff. Happy birthday, Perry Nemiroff. Well, hope you're enjoying yourself, whether you're in Cabo or you're back stateside. Hope you're enjoying yourself and celebrating it today in a good way. I am sitting in for her to host today's live edition of Collider Movie Talk. I'm excited to talk about the Independent Spirit Awards. I'm excited to talk about Janelle Monae's Antebellum, and I'm excited to talk about Ben Affleck's next movie. There's a lot to get into, but you don't want to hear just me talk about it. So let's meet the two gentlemen who are riding shotgun with me in this long Chevy Chevelle right there. Jaby, Koay, how are you, my man?
I am great. I would love to just hear you talk today.
What's with the hair? Usually you got the hair up.
I'm getting a haircut right after the show, man. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's the highlight of my day.
That's the real life stuff you tune into here for a live edition in the morning on Collider Movie Talk. And this gentleman right here, Jeff Sneider's been up since 6 a.m. watching The Mandalorian. How are you, guy?
I'm good, and you know what? You look wonderful. You don't need a haircut. Keep it. You look beautiful.
Thank you. How's The Mandalorian
Save
so
your
far?
Hair. The Mandalorian. I have not seen an episode yet, but I'm going to.
I haven't seen an episode either. I've just been so crazy busy, man. I can't wait to catch up on it.
You're crazy busy for you can't spare half an hour?
No.
That's insane.
No.
Don't take it with you into the bathroom.
When you're running 3 YouTube channels and making a short film, like you just don't have much time for anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
What do you got, Jeff? What are you drinking? You want to pull out a show to the fans?
I was drinking some spiced apple cider because it's the holidays, and I go on vacation today.
Boom! You go on vacation from what? I'd love to know what you go on vacation from. All right, well, let's get into the Independent Spirit Awards. The nominations were announced yesterday, and it was A24 scored a stunning 18 nominations for over 7 films. Pretty incredible stuff. Leading the way, The Lighthouse, and one of Jeff's favorite films, which he keeps hassling me about, Uncut Gems. I'm excited to see this movie, Uncut Gems, with Adam Sandler, for God's sakes. But The Lighthouse, a lot of people have either been all in it or out of it, supporting it or thinking it's too crazy. So it is what it is. But one of the things to talk about here is, according to Film Independent President Josh Welsh, 45% of the directing and writing Spirit nominees are women, and 30% are people of color. Pretty incredible. And in the past, the Independent Spirit Awards have kind of like coincided with the Oscars, but it feels this year as if the Independent Spirit Awards are a little bit on their own, not necessarily trying to influence the Oscar nomination. Netflix only had like 3, I think, nominations. Oh, wait, sorry. The movie boasted, what's that? Sorry. A Marriage Story. It boasts just 3 nominations, and the rest of Netflix fall slate, from The Irishman to The Laundromat, exceeded the Independent Spirit's $22.5 million budget cap. That's what you got to be under that. But one of the surprises to me is Jennifer Lopez is nominated for an Independent Spirit Award. Pretty shocking for Hustlers. She's done mostly mainstream movies, rarely taken a foray into independent film, but certainly getting rewarded with a nomination for the Independent Spirit Awards. Jeff, how much do you put stock in the Independent Spirit Awards? Do you like the Independent Spirit Awards? Do you like that they highlight these kind of movies that necessarily won't get love from the Oscar voters?
I think that it's a good thing that they exist because they do shine a light on the kinds of movies that are maybe going to miss the cut at the Oscars. With that said, I don't think that they have any influence whatsoever on the Oscars, and they're completely irrelevant as far as Oscar season goes itself.
No, but what about for moviegoers? I think this is important.
I don't think moviegoers have any idea what the Indie Spirit Awards are. Okay. I don't think anyone can tell me what won the Indie Spirit Awards last year. I mean, and I've never even gone to the show. I've never even been invited into the tent in Santa Monica. It sounds like a blast every year, but you know what? Until I see it for myself, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Can I vouch?
Jaby, please.
I want to vouch in favor of what you're saying. I didn't even know that this thing existed until this morning.
You didn't know that the Independent Spirit Awards existed until this morning?
It didn't mean anything to me until this morning.
Oh, really?
But I'm very curious. because you brought up Hustlers.
Yeah.
Why is that in this at all?
Well, it's because through STX Films, so it's an independent film itself through that production, and it's under the $22.5 million cap. So it gets seen, and then people vote for it. So that's basically how it works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It didn't have the look of an independent film.
Who
are the people voting? That's.
I don't know. I would like to think that I feel
you can
like
pay to vote for the indie spirits.
Yeah, but I also feel like the people who vote for these films maybe are the people who actually are more dialed in to this kind of cinema,
and that may be
make
true.
An effort to highlight it. Yeah,
I mean, I think you have to be, obviously to even understand, know what most of these movies are. There are a bunch of nominees that I don't even know what they are, and I consider myself pretty up to date on things. The real weird thing for me this year, as far as the nominations go, is the disparity between Best Feature and Best Director.
Yeah,
there's only one director from the Best Features.
Yeah,
like that 1 out of 5. Like that's a very weird ratio.
It's true. It does. Yeah, you're right. That's a fair point. Because like when you go to the Oscars, most people think it's shocking when one director is not nominated for Best Director.
Right.
Exactly. For Best Feature and Best Picture and Best Director. We speak about Best Feature: A Hidden Life, Clemency, The Farewell, Marriage Story, Uncut Gems.
So that's between Marriage Story and The Farewell, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Hidden Life doesn't have any chance there. Clemency is a small film, and the nomination is the win for them. I mean, Uncut Gems clearly has its fans in this voting body, but yeah, I think it's between Farewell and Marriage Story.
Did you enjoy Farewell?
I thought it was terrific. It's one of my top 3 films of the year.
Yeah. What about you, Jaby? Did you see that?
I liked it. Yeah. I liked it. It was cool. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things I have to be in the mood for. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, I feel like easily this could have been a 30-minute movie if you cut out a lot of like the life stuff. But there were some precious moments in there that I appreciated because like getting older, I'm like, I like the moments between the father and daughter. I was like, that's real nice. But like overall, it was a nice film and I liked what it stood for. Yeah. But I just felt like it dragged in a lot of areas for me.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen Marriage Story yet. I'll be seeing that tonight.
Ooh,
at a screening, so I'm excited about it. I got the Farewell as a screener, so I'll be catching that this weekend. Gonna see Judy this weekend. Gonna see Bombshell this weekend. Gonna see Little Women this weekend, and gonna see Waves this weekend. So I'm trying to shove it all in and enjoy some movie watching.
You're part of an organization, though, aren't you?
Yeah, and so I'm very lucky in that way.
John gets the hookup.
Yeah, the LA Online Film Critics Society is very kind to me. And Scott Menzel does a great job of reaching out to the studios and getting us these screeners so we can vote for our awards.
Menzel.
Yeah, you got to apply for it like everything else. The best first feature category we should look at here too: Booksmart, The Climb, Diane, and one of my personal favorites, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, The Mustang. See You Yesterday. Did you see The Mustang, Jeff?
Yeah, I thought The Mustang was really good. There was one or two elements that didn't work for me, but otherwise I thought it was a beautiful movie, and Matthias Schoenaerts did a great job. Obviously Booksmart probably has the most buzz out of any of these. Yeah. Although Last Black Man in San Francisco also got great reviews.
It did.
But the movie that I would really keep an eye on here is Diane from Kent Jones, he's one of us. He was like a longtime critic and programmer. Diane's supposed to be fantastic, great performance from Mary Kay Place, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, interesting. Mary Kay Place coming back into this situation. I've seen Mary Kay Place for quite some time. To see her coming back into prominence again, it's always fun to see these older actresses bubble up to the surface again, because you remember, these people made a living doing this for quite some time, and so it's nice to see them highlighted again. Did you see any of these movies? Did you see Booksmart at all yet?
No.
Okay.
I've seen Hustlers.
You've seen Hustlers. Fair enough. Did you? Okay, fine. If you've seen Hustlers, do you think she should have been nominated here as Independence? Did you like Jennifer Lopez's performance?
I love Jennifer Lopez in it. I love the movie. I thought it was a fantastic film. It went on a little long, but it's just kind of strange to me. I'm kind of trying to get over the fact that it's considered an independent film. I didn't realize the budget was so low. Yeah. They did an excellent job with the budget they had because it looked like, a $50 million or whatever movie. It looked like they spent a lot of time on it.
Well, look, you look at this with Hustlers, you mentioned this. Usually STX is not a factor according to IndieWire at the Spirit Awards, but they scored 3 nominations here for Hustlers, for cinematography, for the director Lorraine
Scafaria did a great job with
she got nominated, and Jennifer Lopez, as we just mentioned. Let's look at the foreign feature films here. Parasite from South Korea was nominated, Retablo from Peru, Les Miserables from France, which you're seeing that this weekend, Jeff?
I saw yesterday.
You saw yesterday,
actually, yeah. Wasn't blown away.
All right,
to be
all right.
honest, wasn't blown away. I think
Invisible Light-
Parasite may have that one sewn up.
Yeah, I think so. I think Parasite's pretty much the odds-on favorite here. And Invisible Life from Brazil, I interviewed the director of that for the Deep Cut, and that's coming out in the next few weeks. I'm actually, and look, I know people may come at me sometimes. I'm very proud of what the Deep Cut, the people I've gotten to be on the show. The director of Apollo 11 was on the show. He's nominated for Best Documentary. The directors of American Factory have been on the Deep Cut and interviewed them about that documentary. I missed out on Honeyland, the director of Honeyland. We couldn't make our schedules work for that. So, like, there are some conversations with people, and I got to interview two of the actors from Parasite. So there's been a lot of fun doing the stuff here at Collider and doing the Deep Cut and getting some great artists to walk through the doors and talk to them about their projects. So if you haven't listened to any of those interviews and you're interested in these movies after you go see them, well, listen to the interviews. They really go in depth about what inspired them to create those movies.
I enjoyed Parasite.
Yeah.
That was an intense movie.
Right.
It wasn't what I was expecting at all based on what I'd seen from him before. I didn't realize like it was going to be a slow burn, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I just didn't love the end.
We can't talk about it.
We can't talk about it, right, exactly.
Okay.
Best supporting male here, let's move on to that. Willem Dafoe for The Lighthouse, Noah Jupe for Honey Boy, Shia LaBeouf for Honey Boy, Jonathan Majors for Last Black Man in San Francisco, and Wendell Pierce for Burning Cane. If you saw the FYC episode that I was very fortunate to be a guest on with Jeff and with Scott, I mentioned Jonathan Majors and Last Black Man in San Francisco as kind of an outside pick, and it's so nice to see him get some love here in the Spirit Awards. What do you see from here, Jeff? Do you think these two Honey Boy nominations cancel each other out? Dafoe takes this thing?
Yeah, I would imagine with this crowd that Willem Dafoe would win. Although Shia could, because Shia wrote the script for Honey Boy, I think that kind of gives him an edge.
Okay.
That's going to be an interesting race. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot one more from the international film, The Souvenir from the UK, which is weird. How does the UK film get a international film, and like UK films get nominated all the time sometimes, or UK actors? That was a weird kind of line to walk here. And apparently Jojo Rabbit wasn't wasn't nominated as well. There was an issue about it being it was ineligible due to its New Zealand origins, but it was eligible for foreign film and then wasn't nominated for best foreign film. Maybe it confused the committee. So there's a lot that goes into this whole thing. And also Terrence Malick's Hidden Life is getting some love here from the nomination. So there's a lot of great films. Look through the Independent Spirit Awards nominations list. If you haven't seen some of these films, take a chance. Expand your horizons. It isn't all just superhero stuff. There's great stuff, or comic book stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. Or franchise stuff. There's just great other independent films going on in the world.
Check out Loose.
Check out Loose. That's another one, of course.
Do you think, we talked about this a little bit before. I think we talked about it. Do you think there'll ever be like an online portal for seeing this kind of stuff, like to participate in viewing what's going on at the Spirit Awards? Or is that already happening?
Viewing the Spirit Awards?
Yeah.
I think there is a way to watch it. I'm not sure. They've covered it obviously in years past.
No, I mean the nominations, like watching
films.
those films.
If you get part of it, if you get into a Critics Society, most studios will send you links to see these movies in award season, especially if your Critics Society has an award show.
Yeah.
Like we have an LAOFCS has an award show at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I've gotten a number of links to watch stuff in the last couple of months because they want their films to be considered and possibly nominated at these award shows. So if you get to be a part of it, especially having two YouTube channels where you review films, there's no way you shouldn't be part of some organization that will give you access to these links.
Yeah, but like if you every year, I think AMC still does it. They do the Best Picture Showcase.
Yes,
where you
sure.
can watch like the Best Picture films that are being nominated. Like it'd be great if there was something easy to access like that for this, where you can watch what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's a fair point. Maybe in the future, that'll be something you can sign up for through the Independent Spirit Film Awards or an Independent Spirit Film Society. I don't know what the organization is that nominates these awards, but yeah, you can get to that. Anyway, was that?
Film Independent.
Film Independent. There we go. Film Independent. We can go through that situation. All right, that's the deal there. So take a look, see what you think. Let us know in the comments section below what films were highlighted that you love, what films you were hoping to see, that kind of stuff. If you're into any of the Independent Film Spirit Awards there. All right, let's move on to our second story here on Collider Movie Talk, and that is Janelle Monae's Antebellum teaser that dropped yesterday. This was such an interesting 1 minute teaser trailer for this film starring Janelle Monae. It teases a deep South situation going on here. There was like months of secrecy around the project, and Lionsgate released the teaser trailer yesterday. They describe it with a one-line synopsis: successful author Veronica Henley, who finds herself trapped in a horrifying reality and must uncover the mind-bending mystery before it's too late. We got present-day stuff here. We got plantation stuff here. We've got slavery. We've got a hotel. We've got a plane flying above that zaps in and out of reality. So much going on in this thing. Jaby, I go to you first. Does this excite you as a 1-minute teaser trailer? And maybe do you get a glimpse of the scariness that will be involved in this film?
It definitely moved me.
Yeah?
It definitely had me wondering what the heck is going on. And knowing that it's coming from an author, like she's the main character, it started to make more sense as to why there was this overlap of imagery and why it's almost like someone's caught between two dimensions or two different time periods.
Yeah.
I think it looks really exciting and interesting. And given that it's in the same vein as Us and Get Out, that's got me super excited.
It's certainly from the producers of Get Out and Us. And it's written and directed by the newcomers Jared Bush and Christopher Renz. It also stars Eric Lang, Jenna Malone, Jack Houston, Kiersey Clemens, Tangaya Chirisa, Gabori Sidibe, who is in the trailer, Robert Aramayo, Lily Cowles, and Marquette Richardson. I hope I didn't maul any of your names. But this is... I like it. It's also apparently garnering attention for campaigns with the MLK Memorial Foundation and Amnesty International, as well as directing Jay-Z's. Bush and Renz garnered attention for their campaigns for the MLK Memorial Foundation and Amnesty International, and they also directed Jay-Z's music video "Kill Jay-Z." So the project, its filming got underway in April, and we'll see what happens with this. What's your reaction to all of this, Jeff? Does it feel like a Black Mirror episode? Does it feel like an interesting feature film?
Yeah, I know a little bit too much about this one, so I'll tread very lightly.
Okay.
But I think that this is going to be a pretty cool movie. Like, it's going to be like Get Out-ish.
Okay.
It is from the producers of Get Out. I don't know that it'll have the same success as Get Out, but this does have a really good cast between Janelle Monae and Kiersey Clemens and Jenna Malone. And I think when you guys figure out what is really going on in this movie, you'll find it pretty disturbing.
Do you like this idea that she's kind of like Janelle Monae is now kind of making her a little more of her name on the acting side of things? Obviously, singing wise, she's so set, but the number of films that she's been doing recently, the number of appearances that she's done, we're seeing her kind of expand her portfolio as an actress. Does this excite you, Jeff?
I think she's a really good actress. I thought she was terrific in Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
I didn't see Harriet, so I missed her in that, and I haven't seen Lady and the Tramp yet because I haven't done Disney Plus. But yeah, I think she could be like a real movie star if she wanted to be.
Yeah.
I think that there are a lot of opportunities right now, and I know she's taking over for Julia Roberts as the lead in Homecoming on Amazon.
Wow.
That Sam Esmail series. So that'll be a big opportunity for her. You know, the sky's the limit.
Are you allowed to drop any hints to give us any more insight as to what's going on in this?
I'll give you tell you what's actually going on off camera. If that's what you really want. I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, I mean, this is obviously going to have a social political bent to it. Obviously, considering the two directors and where they've come from. So to see them tackle slavery, what would be a greater horror? I mean, we saw this in 12 Years a Slave, right? Which is, of course, based on a true story and about that person getting taken and turned into a slave, taken into the South. This is present day. And what greater horror could you have than to be taken and put into slavery and then feel like you have no way out and all of so this to me is so fascinating to explore as a horror film, because how many people have their own fears of what could happen to them in history, or what would they do in a certain situation, and to be put in that situation, and especially as an author, how is she an unreliable narrator as an author? Is she creating all of this in her head? What is happening? Are they taking advantage of this kind of force, this demonic force, or whatever's going on here, of her ability to create scenarios in her head?
Yeah, I was wondering while watching the trailer if there was like some alternate version of history that was going on at the same time because of the overlap of like modern and past stuff. Like it was very confusing, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot. But as soon as you asked me that question of like fears from history, I'm like, I would not want to live in any other time in history ever.
Than we do now?
Yeah, because of medical science more than anything else.
That's fair.
I mean, like if you had an illness in like just 100 years ago, the ways of resolving it were fundamentally different.
50 years ago.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Polio and
Yeah. All of that stuff. What about you, Jeff? What would be your greatest fear to be caught in from history? Is there anything that you would, I mean,
Where do I
I'm
start?
just having a conversation. We're having a conversation Friday morning. What are we talking about? We're having a fun conversation. You tell me.
You know what? I mean, the Holocaust is the obvious answer, but I'm glad I wasn't around and of age for Vietnam because I don't think I would have done very well in the military if I had been drafted.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point, actually. What would you do if you'd gotten that letter? Would you have, been a
I
protester?
think I'd be chilling up in Toronto right now.
20 years later, you'd have a career as an actor. That's for sure. There's a lot going on
You're
there.
not allowed to talk about, but what do you think that phone call thing was about at the beginning of the trailer? That's the thing that was the most eerie to me was the overlap of the phone call and seeing the slave woman running away.
Yeah.
That was like messing me up because I'm going, okay, is there like a connection being drawn between like this over here and what's going on in present day? Is that what's
Right.
happening?
Right.
So, I mean, obviously they're trying to create a correlation. I'm not exactly sure how to articulate what's going on there, but like, what was your feeling about that?
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was maybe that's the way in, right? We've seen what with Ring, with you watch a video, you're dead in 7 days. We've seen things that in the Matrix, you could the phone calls will got you in and out of the Matrix. So maybe the phone call, and we've seen what in Winter Soldier or in the Captain America movies with Winter Soldier, if you say the right combination of words in front of him, then he becomes immediately hypnotized to do whatever you want him to do. So maybe the phone call kind of is the key to getting you into that world or jumping you from timeline to, if it's a dueling history situation that takes you from one history into another. I'm just saying, anything's possible from 1 minute teaser trailer.
That is a wild, outrageous theory.
John's imagination's running wild right now.
I'm just saying.
I thought it was more of just a political statement in the beginning. I had no idea I was watching a horror trailer until like 20, 30 seconds in. I thought it was, because it just seemed like a political statement initially. And obviously it's going to be a political statement in the end.
Right.
But like, I do like the idea a lot. So it's cool.
Yeah.
At least what I know of it so far. I'll find out more after the show.
Yeah, Jeff. What do you know about this? Like, how do you know so much about it? Like, what do you mean? Have you been involved?
I handled most of the casting, I would say, for this one.
What do you mean you you broke the casting?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. We'll let it be at that, I guess. We'll jump into our promos now. Before we do, remind you, we will take your live chat questions. It is Friday, so we'll probably answer more live chat questions than usual. So make them fun, make them interesting, make them weird. Don't make them about bread. No matter what Dorian is trying to tell you, don't make them about bread. Make them about something else. But let's plug some stuff. Collider Mailbag is happening this week, and I host that show as well on Saturday and Sunday. Very happy to announce that Sides Lesnick will be my guest for Saturday, and Ace Cabrera, one of the new co-hosts of Collider Jedi Council, will be my guest on the Sunday edition of Collider Mailbag. I've had Jaby on before. I've had Jeff on before. Jeff, what do you got to plug?
That jacket.
Oh, wow. It's my Lords of Flatbush
what do you guys
jacket.
make what do you guys make of Rocha's jacket?
Yeah, break it down.
Should he be in an episode of Happy Days or?
What's old is new again, son.
You look good. You make it
That's
work,
next
John.
level. That's next level.
Thank you.
I am going on vacation later today after I tape the Sneider cut. So tune in later today for the last episode of November.
Wow.
Is that actually happening? The Sneider cut? Is that actually going through?
Well, that's the name of his podcast. Yeah, he took that for the Snyder Cut.
I am going to weigh in on the Sneider cut stuff, though.
You are?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Do you have any-
Joker 2 rumors and Kathleen
Right.
Kennedy. It's going to be good.
Do you have any special guests?
No. Are you angling for any invite right now, Rocha?
No, I can't because I'm doing mailbag.
Oh, John's so busy.
We usually as I mentioned earlier, Deep Cut, one of the podcasts I host here, I have Scott Z. Burns on today. That's going to drop sometime today. He is the director and producer and writer of The Report, the new film based on the CIA waterboarding techniques that were used, and the report that came out about that. Adam Driver, Annette Bening, incredible. Tim Blake Nelson, currently killing it on Watchmen, part of the movie as well. Maura Tierney has a fantastic
2 huge
role.
stacks of paper this high. They co-star in the movie.
That's right. That's right.
The report's billboard is interesting because it's got a word crossed out on it. I'm like, what am I looking for here?
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
About what's redacted off the
no,
report.
I get it, but I'm like,
Do you
I feel
get
like,
it, Jaby?
I feel like I'm supposed to be looking up a movie with a different title than the report.
Right.
Like there's something in between the and report. And I'm just like, I have to decipher it, and that's part of the fun of
That was the original title, The Torture Report.
It'll be right, exactly. So maybe it's a phone call that leads you into it. Yeah. All right, anyway, let's jump in to our last story, and our last story has to do with the great Ben Affleck. He is coming back to direct here. I'm kind of really excited to see what he's going to do with this. Let's break it down and talk to you about it. The story is called King Leopold's a Ghost. This is being reported by Deadline. It's a story concerned with colonialism, African history, human rights violations, and the inspiring lengths that people go to when they fight for what's right. It's based on a nonfiction book of the same title by Adam Hochschild. It concerns the horrid legacy of Belgium's King Leopold II. In the 1800s, he became wealthy by privately buying the Congo Free State, setting up mercenary armies who plundered the region for resources and slaughtered anyone who got in his way. Eventually, the residents of the Congo begin to fight back against Leopold's vicious rule, and Affleck's film will center on three people leading the counter cause: an Irish spy, an English journalist, and an African-American missionary. No casting for the film has been announced yet. It'll be written by Farhad Safina, who wrote Apocalypto, which is a fantastic film. It'll be produced by Affleck through Pearl Street Films, and which includes Martin Scorsese and Harry Belafonte amongst their list of producers. The book was previously adapted into a 2006 documentary. All right. They were developing into a limited series, but now it's a feature film. Jeff Sneider, I go to you first. What do you know about this? Are you excited about this? Does this interest you?
Nope. No, it doesn't.
What?
What?
At all?
No,
Really?
not at all.
Why?
This is Ben Affleck is like the last person I want to see tell this story in particular.
Fascinating.
Ben Affleck, I want fun from. Okay, Argo is a fun movie. It's a serious movie.
The Town is not fun.
The Town's not fun, but I love that movie.
The Town.
Gone Baby Gone is not fun.
Not at all.
What are you talking
Gone Baby
about?
Gone.
Gone
is
Baby
so
Gone
dark.
is dark, but The Town is fun.
Really?
Yeah.
What is fun about The Town?
There's an element of fun.
Oh man, I love The Town and I love Argo. I think that Ben Affleck is a fantastic director, especially when he's and I think he's a better actor when he's directing himself.
Yes,
more than when other people are directing him. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how he's going to handle this material because it's new. I've never seen him do anything like this.
Right.
But I do have confidence in his abilities to tell a good story. So I think that it could be good stuff.
Yeah, he is, just to give you some background on Ben Affleck and why he'd want to do a project like this. Apparently, he's been personally interested in African justice for some time. He founded the Eastern Congo Initiative, a group that works with residents of the area to further socioeconomic progress. So this is kind of like his passion and his move and his talents coming together for a project that he wants to do. On the heels of like what happened with WB and what happened with Batman, what happened with, what was that other film that the Live by Night or whatever that didn't do so well. You want to see Affleck come back to do an incredible project and do great work again and fall back in love with his abilities as a director. I watched The Town again on my plane trip back from Australia. Fell back in love with that movie. He's such a fantastic director. And Jaby, you make a great point. Putting himself in the movie would be interesting. Maybe he's the English journalist. I don't want to see him as the Irish spy.
I don't want to see him do an English accent. Oh my God, no, don't do that. He does not need to be in the movie.
Well, you just said he's good when he directs himself.
I just don't think, I think he's a better actor when he's directing himself. That doesn't necessarily mean he should be in this film. How was that film that you mentioned, the last one he did? I forgot the name of it.
Live by Night was bad.
Live by Night it wasn't good. There were some good scenes in it, but overall, not a good film. And you could tell there was distraction amongst Affleck.
I just don't know who this project is for. What audience really wants to see this story? Hey, honey, let's go see King Leopold's Ghost tonight.
Well, look, it depends on the casting, won't it? Who is going to be the Irish missionary? Who's going to be the English journalist? Who's going to be the African-American missionary?
It sounds like an expensive passion project that either won't get off the ground or if it does, will flop.
I'll be surprised if it's expensive.
Dang, you're so negative about this project, dude.
Yeah. I think it could be an independent film. It could be an Independent Spirit Award type of film. It could be something like, for $30 million or whatever, and get people
22.5
or 20. Right, sorry, 22.5 or under, and could get people's attention. This would probably be through a studio, so I can't imagine it'll be an independent film.
The presence of Farhad Safina is encouraging.
Right?
I think Apocalypto is a masterpiece, even though it's not exactly known for like its dialogue or whatever.
Yeah,
But this is a fictional story.
No,
right?
it's a true story.
It's all a true story.
Well, it's based on it's a book that detailed the true story of what happened here.
Gotcha.
So obviously it's through a perspective, but yes, it's based on a true story.
And you don't think that could become like a Best Picture nominee?
Oh, yeah, Jaby, good point.
I think it's the kind of movie that you'd think would be a Best Picture nominee, and then every year there's only 9 of those make the cut, and the rest fall away. So
my question is, why is this his passion? Like, how did he get there?
He's interested in African justice and colonialism of Congo.
Know.
I mean, come on.
You know what? I champion this because as much as you two want to put Ben Affleck in a box, I like the fact that he wants to open his mind to other things and explore passions and whatever. Who knew your passion was salt shakers? I only found that out the other day. Who thought Jeff Sneider and salt shakers? Oh, okay.
Shake.
All right, there we go.
No,
Don't do the other
I have
one.
no issue. I have no issue with him exploring this. I am not against it. I just want to know why. How did he get there? Why did this? Like, we know why Christopher Reeves decided to, petition for the thing that he did. In the end. I mean, it was very obvious. Michael J. Fox, same thing. What is Ben Affleck's connection to that?
What was your entry point into doing Indian films and covering Indian films?
It was an accident.
Yeah, see? So you never know what pops up in your life.
I was looking for something that was different than American stuff to share with my audience.
Yeah.
And Indian stuff came up by accident, and that just took over my channel.
Right.
That's how.
So,
but he doesn't live in Africa. Like, I just want to know how he got there. That's all.
It'd be a good question to ask him.
Yeah.
Jeff, maybe you get to interview him. You can ask him. And then tell him what you think
how
about
much
his
you don't
movie.
like his
I've been
story.
promised a Ben Affleck interview for a decade, okay? So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'll tell you this.
Not if you crap on his movie. Go ahead, yeah.
Crap on his movie he hasn't made yet. It's a weird development project. Good luck with it.
Jesus.
He was the bomb in Phantoms.
Oh, my God. What's your favorite Ben
Just had
Affleck
to say
directed
that.
film?
The Town, easily. The Town. I just don't like the name, but The Town.
Yeah.
I think it should have been called Charlestown because it's based on Charlestown. But yeah, that's the only thing. But I love the film. I love the way it's directed. I think that the extended edition is even more interesting to watch.
There's an extended edition?
Yeah, there's an extended edition.
Shut the hell up. Is that on the Blu-ray?
Yeah.
I've never seen the extended edition.
Yeah.
Now, forget The Insider. I'm going to go watch the extended edition of The Town. Sorry, Jim. Sorry.
I might even say Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah?
I
Still your
thought that
favorite?
was great.
Okay. All right. I respect that.
Why Gone Baby Gone over The Town? Can you articulate that?
The Town has a certain Hollywood sheen to it. It's presented as like this big go Friday night movie. You can take your girl to, or you can go see with your guys. Mm-hmm. And Gone Baby Gone seemed a little bit more pure of heart and a little bit grittier and grimier and indier. Yeah, I just liked its sensibility a little bit more.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll see what happens with this. Obviously, there's not a distributor here. There's no shooting date set just yet, and casting hasn't even happened. But I agree with these two gentlemen to a degree. This is an interesting project that you wouldn't normally think Ben Affleck to tackle, but he certainly proved his bones in Argo that he can direct a film to a Best Picture victory that is based on a historical event. So this is something that could play in his favor, as Jaby said down the road. Maybe an Oscar nomination for Best Picture, or maybe Jeff's correct, the cantankerous one, and it's not. It doesn't end up seeing the light of day. We'll see. But let's move on to your live movie chat questions. We always appreciate them. Dorian pulled a few to drop here into my Slack for us to talk about. MK Songbird, and maybe I'll get your thoughts on this one first, Jeff. Thoughts on the DOJ's, Department of Justice, recent decision to end the Paramount consent decrees and the ramifications it could/will have on the smaller chain/independent theaters?
I have no idea what this is about.
Not a big deal.
Can you explain it just for a second?
I mean, back in the day, like the government wouldn't allow movie studios to own their own theaters because of, competition laws and stuff like that. They call it the Paramount Decree or whatever the hell it was. And so they haven't even lifted it yet, have they? There's just someone who wants to lift it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think, you can see right now that the streaming wars are upon us. All the studios are moving everything to streaming. Yeah. Why would studios suddenly double down on theatrical and start buying movie theaters? This makes no sense. The only place that it really makes sense for is either a Disney, which, they could screen their library titles and that kind of stuff, or maybe Netflix. I really can't even see Apple or Facebook doing it right now. And it just, I don't understand. What it is a bad sign, I think, for theatrical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Disney and Netflix is exactly what I was thinking about when you said that. Are they not part of this conversation at all?
I think the conversation is still early. I don't think anyone's starting to go look at theaters to go buy.
Okay.
But
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if Disney bought up theaters to start showing their library of stuff. And I heard something about Netflix. Like, did we talk about this on the show?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
There were rumors that Netflix is going to buy a theater themselves.
So Netflix has been buying individual theaters
Yes.
in New York and Los Angeles. But honestly, and this is just what I think, they don't give a crap whether any of us see these movies on the big screen or the general public.
The numbers.
They do it for voters.
Right.
They do it so that voters can feel like they're going to a movie theater same as any other movie, and you know that the theatrical impact is not lost upon the voters who still care about it. But to the general audiences, Netflix still wants them tuning in via their phones and laptops.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Paola Andrade. How do you feel the Spirit Awards gave any movie or actor a push for the big awards, or on the contrary, hurt anybody like Noah Baumbach not getting a nomination for direction?
You said earlier that you don't feel like it has any impact or correlation whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think it matters at all. I
You
mean,
don't think it brings the thing to light for some voters, some actors to light, or some directors, some creators to light, for them to consider again before voting season?
No.
Fascinating.
I don't.
Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. I just like the indie spirits. What are they? They take place the day before the Oscars,
Yes.
don't they? So they have no bearing on the winners, right? Because
Well, the nominations might, because the Oscars hasn't been voted on yet, right?
if the indie spirits do anything, people go, oh, what's this movie? I haven't heard of that movie, or oh, I missed that performance. Did that already come out? And then they just make sure to see it before Oscar voting comes. But as far as who gets nominated, I don't think that influences who gets nominated for Oscars. It's a different pool of contenders.
Okay. Because I mean, they've awarded the best feature to The Artist, to Moonlight, to Spotlight, to 12 Years a Slave, and Birdman. That's only recent, and that's just the recent run. So certainly there have been winners at Independent Spirit Awards that gone on to win Oscars as Best Picture, or Best Actor Awards and Actress Awards.
One of the big complaints people have had over the years with the Academy Awards is that oftentimes these Best Pictures are things no one has heard of, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm experiencing the same kind of thing here. And if only there was a way that it was more accessible to the public, maybe like Netflix set up a special deal with them where people can watch this stuff.
All these movies are in theaters though, and they're available now on iTunes. Like none of them are hard to find, I would say.
Right, but in connection with the awards, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like saying, oh, these are nominated for this. You can watch it, and maybe you can like participate as an audience vote or something like that.
I just feel you need to work harder, Jaby. That's the problem.
No, all I'm saying is to make it more well known.
I agree.
And ubiquitous, so that people can so it feels, because otherwise it doesn't really have in my opinion, it doesn't have an impact.
Yeah. Well, I think years ago on AfterBuzz, Mance and Alicia Malone had an independent film show. Like either that or they had a section of their show where they highlighted independent films to get people to come watch them. And it's akin to what happens on Collider Heroes when Amy and Koay have a comic book pull list every episode to highlight certain comics, maybe some from the mainstream, but also some from independent publishers that people go and take a chance on. So I agree with you. There should be more highlighted on more shows highlighting these films. The problem is sometimes the ratings aren't there for those kinds of shows and the views aren't there for those kinds of shows. So outlets and sites aren't as gung-ho to create those shows. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's no question that the Indie Spirit Awards have good taste. I mean, like you said, their winners end up becoming the Oscar winners, but I think that really just says more about the Academy than the Indie Spirits. It's that the Academy cares about good stories. They don't care what your budget is, and all these other bigger movies like they've shunned in recent years in favor of those smaller titles.
I'd like to see the crossover of Independent Spirit Award voters and Oscar voters. How many of them are the same people?
Very, very few.
Yeah, really?
Very few.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I take it from Jeff. Jeff knows these things.
I think they got to work with someone like Netflix or YouTube or something just to get the word out there more.
You're on there. You're on this thing. You're not letting this go. I get it.
No,
Okay,
I'm not. Like with
it.
you, for instance, whenever E3 comes around, YouTube has a thing dedicated to E3 to make it known.
But E3 you can't compare to Independent Spirit Awards. E3 people are waiting to see those games.
Yeah, but people didn't always know what E3 was.
True. Very true. Because it was exclusive.
Right.
The other thing, John, is people think, oh, there's a ton of overlap. Even if there was, there's a ton of overlap between the Indie Spirit voting body and the Oscars. They're two different awards, and you're voting because you vote for someone to win an Indie Spirit Award, that's against their certain crop of nominees, right? You could be voting for a completely different person for Oscars.
I get that, absolutely. I'm just saying, if you're an Independent Spirit Award voter and you get sent these screeners and you watch these screeners or go to the movies because you get to these screenings for these films, that might change your opinion or highlight a film that you didn't think about, or an actor or a performance or director you didn't think about, and that could influence your Oscar voting. And that's what I'm saying to you. It can open the door to more possibilities for your vote, because I think people's votes are their own, the ones that actually do vote, not the ones that hand it off to their assistants to vote, which I've heard happens a lot in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the actual vote,
I agree with you there. Actually,
Yeah.
that was you made a good point there, because then you're spreading
took
awareness.
me 38 minutes. Thank God. Yeah,
No, you're spreading awareness of a project,
Exactly.
or an actor or whatever the case may be, and then maybe you do take that into consideration when you go on to the next thing to vote for.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Do they screen on IFC? I thought they used to screen on IFC, the Independent Spirit Awards.
Yeah.
So you can watch.
They have Mulaney and Kroll hosting.
Oh yeah, this year. Oh nice.
Or
Okay.
I don't know if it's this year, but in recent years,
Right
it's
on.
sort of become their thing.
Okay, Luke Nelson, for Sneider specifically, what do you think was the biggest entertainment news of 2019? What will we look back on as the defining story of the year? That's from Luke Nelson.
I think it's clearly Disney buying Fox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the town becoming a 5-studio town. So.
Okay. Not the Joker making $1 billion off $55 million budget.
I'm gonna laugh at that.
Okay.
You didn't even say that to me. Next.
Can you elaborate on that?
Are you serious?
Disney's been buying Fox for 2 years, man. Is it a 2019? The fact that it's finally consummated, it's a big story. Yes, I get it, but still.
Yeah, because it became implemented
Yeah.
and people lost their jobs, and
That's for sure. That's a very good point,
Yeah,
Jeff.
I think there's a lot going on besides.
Let's have some fun questions before you go crazy. All right, Scott Boswell asked, if you could own an iconic piece of movie clothing, what would it be? An iconic piece.
Matrix, Neo's jacket from the Matrix.
The leather jacket.
The leather jacket.
Right on.
That's the first thing that popped into my head. It's probably a bad answer, but that's the first thing that popped into my head.
I like that answer.
Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling's scorpion jacket from Drive.
Oh my God. Why that?
Are you making fun of my jacket? Are you kidding? If you walked in with a scorpion jacket,
that a joke answer?
Holy crap!
Was that a joke answer?
The level of crap you would take at this
Hey,
office.
just because in my head I am like Ryan Gosling from Drive.
Are you sure?
Or
I just
Kit,
see you being his dad. What?
or Kit from Knight Rider.
What?
The car.
That's not a movie. That's a TV
that's
show.
a prop. Okay, it's got to be a movie.
It's a piece of movie clothing.
Brandon Lee's outfit in The Crow, all ripped up black leather.
If you're going to go there, I would go with Bruce Lee's yellow outfit from Game of Death.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I like that idea. I don't know. I think Clint Eastwood's hat from Unforgiven. I always like, because it was such a big deal that his hat kept
Of course,
falling
the
off.
outlaw picks that one.
I mean, what do you want me to say? It's a Western. I love that. I love his whole outfit in that. All right, let's see. Another one here. K Supersonic 1. In honor of the release of A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, what childhood heroes would you love to see a film made about?
Oh, Lord. Jesus.
I know. I got it. Captain Kangaroo. The movie.
The hidden story of Captain Kangaroo.
Yes. Be very gritty.
The gritty story of Captain Kangaroo.
Gritty Grimace.
Oh, Gritty Grimace. All right.
Man, I don't know, man. Like, my brain's going to weird places. I'd love to see a behind-the-scenes movie of Power Rangers and how all the drama that went behind the scenes there.
For the show?
For the show, yeah,
Okay.
the very first show. Well, the very first American translation of the show,
Right.
because there was all kinds of drama. When I don't know if you paid attention to it back in the
No,
day.
that's
but
more
like,
a Perry thing, Power Rangers.
well, like 3 of the Rangers got kicked off the show because they wanted to become SAG, and Haim Saban didn't want it to be SAG.
Oh, wow.
So they replaced them, and then they went on to make a movie, and like there was all kinds of
it
drama.
was a union thing.
It was a non-union show.
A non-union show,
yeah,
right.
and I would just be curious to see some
Plus,
behind.
all the Power Rangers were having sex with each other back then. I'm
Is
telling
that
you.
true? I don't know. Is that
an
allegedly?
urban legend? Yeah.
Well,
Can't have that.
Yeah.
It's all the more reason to have a behind-the-scenes movie of the Power Rangers.
That's Snyder on a Friday, ladies and gentlemen.
Vacation.
People still love that show though. They
Oh, of
still
course they
still
do.
have like it still has a special place in their heart. I feel like a lot of people go out in droves to watch that movie if there was a what happened.
I don't disagree with you.
You know.
Sounds like a Disney Plus thing. Could they do
I don't know about that. But yeah.
Disney Plus? Childhood heroes. Oh, I would love to see a documentary about Ronald McDonald, about how they created Ronald McDonald, who played Ronald McDonald, and what they experienced playing that character. And the first one, like the first guy who was known, like the first Marlboro Man, the first Ronald McDonald. I would love to see that, something like that. That would be interesting. But I like your Captain.
Would it really?
or the behind the scenes, an electric company documentary would be interesting too.
Electric Company?
The Electric Company. Do you remember the Electric Company?
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, it's on PBS. It was on PBS. That's Dorian trying to get in one because he wants to ask. All right, here. I'll ask your bread question, Dorian. The prince that wasn't promised, which bread would be considered independent bread? I like
You wouldn't even know the name of it. It would be something you pick up at Gelson's.
Focaccia.
Focaccia's not independent bread. That's a European bread. That's a European film.
It's foreign language.
It's a foreign language film.
Independent bread. What's the stuff at Ethiopian restaurants?
Oh, yeah. I think that's fair.
It's like flat.
Yeah. All right.
How about naan? I'm just saying that because I love
that's
naan.
what it was.
Naan. Yeah, that's what it is.
I love naan. Well, Indian naan specifically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you go Indian.
I love naan.
I don't know what would be independent bread.
This is such a silly question.
Welcome to Dorian's world.
Okay. I'm still trying to figure out the childhood hero thing. Like the Power Rangers thing is just something I pull out of my butt because it came to my head. But like,
That's
I
how it
feel like
works.
there's a better answer.
Oh, wait, independent bread. I got a good joke for it.
Go ahead, break it down.
Paris, Texas toast.
Oh, there you go.
Get it?
Good.
Paris, Texas.
Very
It's an
good job.
indie movie.
Very good job. Zeno Hour wants to know which pro athlete from any era deserves a biopic. My pick is Allen Iverson.
Has there been a wait? What? Say again? Which pro athlete?
Which pro athlete from any era deserves a biopic? My pick is Allen
Has
Iverson.
there been a Michael Jordan biopic?
There has not.
What? That seems the obvious way to go.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean that would be great.
Not while he's still alive. There's no way he would let that happen.
No, I would personally want to see one about the basketball Jesus, Larry Joe Bird.
Huh? That's
but
fair.
to be honest, I think Bill Russell is the answer to that question.
I immediately thought
Bill Russell
Yeah.
led like a friggin' crazy life.
Yeah.
And like that would be amazing.
And not Will Chamberlain, although that would be a fun biopic as well. But, for so many reasons. But Bill Russell, was on the forefront of a lot of the racial issues going on in the country, was also the first black player selected by the Celtics, I think, and then won 11 championships, I think, in a row.
No one
Pretty
can lay
incredible.
claim to that.
Plus, you'd have to cast Red Auerbach. You'd have to cast Bob Cousy. John Havlicek.
Brady would be a great biopic too.
Tom Brady?
You know that'd be a great biopic. You would see that in a heartbeat. If it was like Scott Eastwood throwing touchdowns.
Scott Eastwood is not Tom Brady.
Hey,
I'm going to make John uncomfortable.
Okay.
What about O.J. Simpson?
Well, can you top that 7-episode doc from ESPN?
Yeah, no.
That's
And
one of the
then
most
FX
incredible
series.
things I've ever seen.
OJ, we've seen. OJ's
Yeah.
been done.
His
That guy's
life?
on Twitter now.
Yeah, his life. Yeah, it's been done.
That damn fool's on Twitter now. I don't
I
understand.
feel like we've done a movie about we've seen movies about the end of his life.
No,
Sure.
Did you watch?
the
Did you
downfall.
watch the documentary?
Have you seen the documentary, Jaby?
No.
Oh,
I watched the OJ trial
right.
film with John
that,
Travolta.
and that's great.
But if you watch the documentary, it is engrossing because it goes back to
Yeah.
the LA in the 40s and 50s.
Oh, wow.
And talking about how that was what was the groundwork for
Yeah.
the foundation for these.
But that's not a movie.
this
That's a
eruption of the
documentary.
racial-
But,
It's a documentary.
but even doing a narrative version of that story,
Yeah.
I don't think would be nearly as good as the documentary. The documentary is probably the #1 masterpiece of the decade.
Oh wow, okay. Okay, I have to watch that then. Thank you.
I think, Maradona is really interesting. Having Steve Capati on here on Sports Time to talk about that documentary he did for HBO, which I think you're still watching.
Yes, I am.
Maradona is a very interesting character, and to have him do a life story of him would be fascinating.
Wait, what's the name of that
don't
short
know.
basketball player from back in the day? Is it
Bugsy Bogues.
Yeah, Bugsy Bogues.
Bugsy Bogues.
What about him?
I actually could see that. Starring Kevin Hart.
That would be That would be a fascinating
Yikes.
movie though, because he was wasn't he the shortest basketball player?
Yes, maybe. I think he was.
Yeah.
And then because he played for my Bullets, him and
Hornets.
I think him and Manu
Alon-
Bol.
Oh, yeah.
I think they both made their way through the Bullets.
I would
think.
always try to dunk with him in NBA Jam 1995. never been able to make
Never-
it, but
never
always
did.
try.
Lau asks, if you could pick any director to make any type of movie, what would your pick be?
Oh my god, I would want to see Scorsese do a Marvel movie.
Wow, that's topical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I've wanted to see that. Like I got really excited about Tarantino doing the Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Like seeing a director step into a genre they have not done ever in their career sounds fascinating to me, especially something that's like pop culture oriented.
Okay.
So
I want to see David Fincher's Lethal Weapon.
What the hell?
I'd want
That'd be
because
such a dark movie.
I think like I love what Fincher does like with buddy sort of situations like in Seven with Pitt and Freeman and with Pitt and Norton in Fight Club.
Yeah.
So his take on like the buddy action comedy could kind of be really weird and messed up.
Isn't that Seven? That's basically Seven. What you're asking for?
But there's no,
No,
It's Morgan Freeman's the older black guy.
yeah, but there's no comedy in that. There's no real comedy.
I don't see comedy in this movie at all.
There is comedy in Seven, but that is definitely not what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good question. That's a tough question for me. Any director to make any type of movie. I guess I cop out and say Christopher Nolan's version of Star Wars would be interesting, especially if he could step into the Benioff and Weiss slot that's opened up now and step in and do a trilogy, because obviously the Dark Knight trilogy, a lot of people love. Yeah, the third movie, there were a lot of people defend, a lot of people didn't like it, but I think it'd be interesting to see Nolan's trilogy, a Star Wars trilogy. If they could move into this new era and have him do one, that would be fantastic. And it'd be epic AF. It'd be epic AF if he did it. I'm not winning you both
Is that
over.
what the
with this.
kids say?
That's what the jacket tells me the kids say. All right, we got to get out of here. All right, thanks everybody for watching this live episode of Collider Movie Talk. Really appreciate you all taking the time to watch or to listen to us. Hope we entertained you with what we had to say, and hope we informed you a little bit with what we had to say as well. And maybe some of you who, like Jaby, who didn't know what the Independent Spirit Awards were, now do, and maybe want to go explore it and see more about it, and maybe find new independent movies that you can watch before the end of the year. I want to thank Jaby for stopping by. Where can they find you, brother man?
They can find me at youtube.com/getjaby. I have a feeling that I'm going to be the butt of the joke in the comments.
Not with this jacket on.
I was very honest about not knowing about that stuff.
And I appreciate that, because there's probably a lot of people that don't. So respect, brother,
but
man.
yeah, youtube.com/getjaby or on Twitter @getjaby.
There you go. Follow his stuff. It's so much fun. Jaby's, I'm trying to, trust me, one of the best dudes that I have come in contact with in this business, and I always love seeing him and talking with him. Jeff Sneider, where can they find you, my man?
At the end, Sneider. On all platforms and not in the office after today. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Mwah. Go Patriots.
You going to Boston? You going to Boston?
That's right.
Are you going to watch a Patriots game live while you're there?
No, I'm not going to the
Okay.
game.
Maybe catch a Celtics game?
I'm going to watch it with my niece on the couch.
There you go.
My baby niece.
Good job.
Marlo.
Good job. Shout out to Marlo there. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Thanks to Adam Smith over there for switching through our madness. Thanks to Dorian for handling the chat, and Thad Williams as well. Don't forget, a live episode of Collider. Collider Live is coming up in about 10 minutes. And guess who's going to be on it? That's right, me and Matt Knows, the top 10. We are coming in as guests with Mark Riley and host Dorina Arellano. We're going to have a lot of fun there talking about a bunch of stuff on Collider Live. So thanks so much for watching this episode. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget about Mailbag this weekend, and we'll see you back with Perry Nemiroff. Happy birthday again, Perry. 9 a.m. PT on Monday morning. Take care until then.